Hi, everyone. This is Kendra here. I'll get started in about 1 minute. But until then, you can take a look at the chat where I will be posting a Google form for you to fill out. It just has a few questions that will be helpful to me as we continue this webinar.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. This is Kendra. I'm going to get started in maybe 1 more minute. I'm just waiting for a few more participants to join. If you can all just do me a favor and mute yourselves, I will ask that you stay muted throughout the duration of the webinar, just so that all, um, we'll be able to learn a little bit better that way. And I will explain a few more tidbits before we get started.
My internet connection's unstable. It says start video.
Okay. So while you're waiting, if you notice in the chat at the very top, there's a Google form link. If you want to begin filling that out, you can. That will just provide me with some very helpful information. And I can then send you some information afterwards. I am recording this webinar, so you will be able to have access to it afterwards. Okay. So if you scroll, I see some people saying that they don't see the link. It's at the very top of the chat thread. So if you look at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there will be a button that says chat. If you click on that, the chat thread will pop up. And then you scroll all the way to the top. It says Google Form. It's the first message from me. And that is the form. Whoever's saying that they don't see it, I will figure that out at the end, and I'll just post it one more time. Okay. So I see a lot of lovely faces. Hi, hello, I'm Kendra. I will be, like I said, trying to keep this webinar muted for all participants. If you would like to turn off your video, you can, because I will be doing screen sharing for a majority of this webinar, excuse me, and just so that it can stay a little bit more focused. It's up to you. You can turn your screens off, on, whatever you decide. But I will get started now. So welcome to this webinar. This is the New York State TESOL K-5 online literacy resources to support ELLs during remote learning. Again, I'm Kendra Howard, and I'm an ELL teacher for kindergarten through second grade in District 7 in the Bronx, which is in the Mott Haven section. I was supposed to be joined by my colleague, Christine Rosalia, but it seems that she couldn't get through. So I will be trying to manage the chat on my own. So please just bear with me, and I will try to get all of the unanswered questions. I'll try to email to you after the meeting. So I was essentially at first going to use the chat as the main source of questions, but if you can withhold from posting in the chat right now, and instead save questions for the Google form. That will be the easiest way for me to get any responses to you for questions that you may have. Does that sound good? Okay. Awesome. So we have about 35 minutes, and I will try to get to all of the things that I need to get to. Can I just ask one more time if you can please go to the bottom of your Zoom and end video? Not that I don't want to see your lovely faces. It just might be a little distracting because I will be doing screen share for the rest of this meeting. So thank you so much. All right, so I hope you are all in good health and in relatively good spirits, given the situation that we are all in. And I want to also thank you for your time and for joining New York State TESOL in this webinar to learn how to use some online literacy resources to support our students, especially our ELLs, during remote learning. So today I will walk you through planning and assigning a read aloud lesson with an extended writing lesson, and I will provide an extensive list of literacy resources at the end. Okay, so do not worry. I will not send out the literacy resources until the end. You will see it in my screen share, and you will receive it later. But I do have a few announcements before we get started. So it seems that most of you have already found the chat button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Please reserve that for dire questions that you may have. If I don't get to it right away, or even before the meeting is over, I will send you an email. Okay. Secondly, there are CTLE hours available for this session. You can let me know if you need CTLE hours in the Google form. There's a place for that in the form, and you will receive an email after this session to claim your hours. Just be sure that you are aware that the hours won't be processed for about a month or so. So just please be patient with us. Lastly, New York State TESOL is still offering our amazing membership deal for just $20.20. So please sign up now for access to numerous conferences and webinars with discounts. The link will also be emailed to you at the end of the session. Okay, so we can get started. Okay. So that was my welcome page. But we will start here. So this past week, while I was co-planning with my classroom teachers, I felt a little overwhelmed, like I'm sure many of you were, or still are, thinking about how to incorporate rigorous literacy into online teaching. So the first thing I did was I began to compile a list of resources, which I will email to you after the meeting. And this is the list here. I'll just scroll through it. Okay, so there's a lot of links, a lot of apps, a lot of resources here, which you will have access to. And so I wanted this webinar to focus on just several of these resources and how we can use them to plan reading and writing. So this webinar will be an overview of the resources, and in the interest of time, I won't be able to explain all aspects of the programs in depth, but if I don't get all of your questions answered, I promise I will follow up. The programs I will be sharing with you are EPIC, VOOCs, which are virtual libraries, and Seesaw, which is a portfolio program, which I use to assign lessons and check student work. Some of you might be familiar with these. If not, then you'll see them today. So you can see, I'll just start with how I began planning my lesson, okay? So the lesson that I decided on was a read aloud lesson for a group of ELLs who are reading at an independent level J. So the level K text that I chose, which is Pete the Cat, a pet for Pete, will be, I think, comfortably challenging for them. So I found this text in Get Epic. So I already have an educator account. And I would highly suggest that even if you are a parent, you should sign up as an educator so you get free access to the site. The cool thing about EPIC is that there are a wide range of fiction and nonfiction texts, and it follows numerous text leveling systems. So at my school, we use FMP, so I chose to search for books that way. But I'll just show you here on the Explore. You can, I already have it set to FMP, but there are other ways that you can search for books. Hold on. I think since I already have it set to FMP, that's what it will show. But it also has Lexile levels, so you can search for books many different ways. But I already created a library of books that I want for my students to read. And the text that I chose for this particular lesson is Pete the Cat, a Pet for Pete. So another really cool thing about this book, about this program, is that it allows for students to hear the text out loud. So it will read to them. I'll give you just a small sample, and it highlights the text as it goes.
Bob shows Pete's painting to his friend Tom. Now Tom wants a painting too.
You can set it to highlight.
Pete paints another picture of Goldie to take to school for show and tell.
And then you can also click on certain words and it will give you a definition of that vocabulary word. Okay. So after I've chosen my text, what I then do is I will either do a search for supplemental activities or come up with some of my own. So for this book, I decided to go back to the resource list. And there's a section for fiction and nonfiction reading with comprehension and writing prompts. So the website that I will use for this is called Reading is Fundamental. Okay, and so here I can type in the name of my text. And there are just a few options for choosing supplemental, just questions, pre and post reading questions. Okay, so I'm going to choose just these, the friendship activities. One second. And you can see that it just gives some general questions for pre and during and post reading. And you can always edit them to fit the exact text that you are looking to read. You can craft your own questions. So for my lesson, I also decided on a few vocabulary words and phrases to highlight before reading. And I chose effort, the vocabulary word effort, being the focus word that I will challenge students to use in their responses. So I'll go back to EPIC. After crafting the pre and post questions, EPIC allows you to create a quiz right within the book page, which you can find right here. So I just started a few questions that I would ask students. What kind of pet did Pete get? You know, you can definitely get more in depth than that. And it allows students to, once you assign the quiz, it allows students to answer right within the text. So for this read aloud assignment, I will give the students the option of responding within EPIC, but to provide an added scaffold to learning, I like to give them multiple options for responses. So for this, my school uses the Seesaw app, which I will show you briefly. Okay, so in the Seesaw app, it's really great for ELLs. One, because it gives students multiple methods of responding and showing their knowledge. Students are able to write, draw, take pictures, and record audio or video responses. And they're able to post their work to a classroom thread on which fellow classmates can comment and provide feedback. So for this read aloud, Pete the Cat, I already started an assignment, so I can show you that. And here it has just a few more pre and post reading questions. And you can see that I have them written out here. But eventually I will also do an oral recording of these questions just to help students out who might not be able to read all of these on their own. So I can provide voice instructions here. Okay. All right. So now I'll show you how students can, how they can respond to your assignment in different ways. So let's say I post a new assignment. I can give my instructions in the form of a picture. I can upload a file, draw, add a note, create a video, upload a link, and the students have the same options for responding. So it's just a great variety of ways for students to respond. I'm going to pause here for a second just to take a look at the chat because I do see a lot of people asking questions. So just bear with me for a second. Okay. All right. So it seems like everyone is okay. Yes, so far. I'll just answer a few questions. Do kids need their own account for EPIC? So once you as the teacher create your EPIC profile, you can send students your link. So I'll show you that real quick. Okay, hold on. So here I have my roster of students already on my list. And so what you would do is just send them this class code and they can log in for free. And then your students can click on their name and all of their assignments will show up right in their EPIC folder. I see some people still asking about the Google form. I will post it once more at the end. And I'll give you, no problem, I'll give you a chance to fill that out. It's also at the very top of the thread. It should be the first post in the thread. If you're looking for the Google form, I believe, so someone's asking, can this be used on a phone? I'm not sure if you're talking about EPIC or if you're talking about Seesaw. Seesaw can be used on almost any device. EPIC, I would have to get back to you. Seesaw does work with Google Classroom. And for all other questions right now, I will get back to you at the end of the chat, or I will email you a response. Okay, so I'm gonna move on. But thank you for your questions. Okay. So back to Seesaw. One thing for this Pete the Cat assignment that I will allow students to use is the note option. So I'm going to take it back to my assignment. So with the note option, it's pretty cool, especially for ELLs, because it gives them the opportunity to see some sentence stems and they can type right into it. You can type your answers right into the note. Or what they can do is they can leave a voice note so they can verbally record their responses right here. Okay. So when I'm ready to assign this to my students, I go right up here to assign. And what's really cool is that I am a co-teacher for all of the classes that I teach. And I could just send it to all students, but I can click, sorry, right into edit students, and I can select the particular students that I work with. Okay, so I'll keep that hidden for now just to protect the identity of the students, but each class gives me the option of selecting the particular students that I work with, and then I can send off that assignment to all of them at once, okay? The other cool thing is that, so as to not overwhelm students, because they are also getting some assignments from their classroom teachers, I can schedule an assignment to arrive on their personal thread at a specific date or time. So I know that I won't see these students or work with these students until tomorrow at 10:30. So I will assign this assignment to go out to them at that time. And I just click yes and then move on. Okay. So that was just a very brief overview of a reading lesson using Seesaw and EPIC. And now I will show you how I planned for a writing extension using the same text. Okay. So for the writing portion, you have, again, many options. So my students are currently in the TC poetry unit. So I decided to use Pete the Cat just to create an extended writing assignment. Hold on one second. I just want to let one more participant in. Let's see. There we go. Thank you for your patience. I just wanted my co-host to join, and now she's in, and now she can help with some chats. Thank you so much, Christine. Some chat questions, that's what I meant. Okay, so let me continue. So I will go back to my assignment folder. And I already started looking at some ways to incorporate poetry writing using some of the themes from Pete the Cat. So you can see poetry writing after reading Pete the Cat. So for the learning objective for this lesson, I want it to be poets think carefully about the words they choose, and the language objective would be poets write or say words that help them imagine an object. And for this, we're going to be using vivid words, the vocabulary vivid, to describe our words, our describing words. So I will provide students with some examples. You can see here, I just took some pictures of things in my kitchen, and within Seesaw, it allows you to take a picture right with your computer, and it's pretty cool because it mirrors exactly what you see. So you don't have to worry about flipping the screen or anything. And then there are options to add vocabulary words as well. Excuse me. So first I wanted students to plan some vocabulary that they could use in a poem that they're going to write. So I'm going to encourage them to take pictures of things in their own home and use some vocabulary words, which I provided here as well. Some vivid words to describe how things look. And this was just a chart that I had in my classroom that I took a picture of. These are just some pictures that I got off of the internet, vivid words to describe how things feel, vivid words to describe how things taste. And then I provided them with an exemplar poem that they can use to model their own poems, model for their own writing. And then for this writing assignment, I just provided them with a template so that they can write their poems right onto this sheet. Two things that we were thinking about at my school were what tools do students have at home for writing? We all know that, you know, writing utensils are scarce, and we want to give students just multiple ways to be able to, you know, just work with us. So Seesaw is just an excellent way to do that. They can type here. Another option that I've given students was to write with a whiteboard and marker and take a picture of that and post it. Or again, like the oral responses are more than acceptable. Okay, so once the student submits their work, it shows up in my notifications on Seesaw, just kind of like this. Okay, so it shows like where students respond. And then I can directly comment with feedback and or next steps. And the students will see it and we can continue a conversation in that manner. And that's pretty much it. That's how I use just a few online programs to navigate a reading and writing lesson. The resources aren't too flashy or cumbersome, but I think they provide a solid foundation for organized communication between students and teachers. And I hope it was helpful to see the process in action. Again, I know it was very quick. I see a lot of questions. This might lead to another webinar in the future where I can go more in depth with EPIC or Seesaw or whichever resources you find interesting that you want to learn more about. But I'm sure there are also many other literacy resources that you can think of, and I encourage you to add it to the list. So please be sure to fill out that part of the Google form. It's the last question, and it asks you to post any links of resources that you might be interested in. Okay, so we have time for about 5 minutes of questions. Christine will help me with kind of navigating which are the most pressing questions, and I will try my best to get to those. If not, here is the Google form again. I'm posting it to everyone. Okay, Google. Oops. Okay, so I just posted the link once more to the Google form. So Christine, if you can just help me decide on some questions to answer. Let me see if I can get you some sound. Okay. Sorry, Christine, I see you're still on mute. I'm gonna see if I can work that out. I'm still here, everyone. I'm just looking through some questions. Okay, so it says, how can you get parents to use Epic without paying for membership? Okay. I am almost positive that with the child's login, the parent can have one as well, but that's a question that I will get back to and confirm. Okay. For the question about, would you be able to create 2 classes on Epic? I'll get back to that one as well, but what I did in Epic, and I can show you again, what I did on Epic was I grouped my students. So while I wasn't able to actually create separate grades, I did group them by class. So you can assign books to each class, which, you know, keeping in mind their levels, you can assign leveled books for each of your classes. So I'm assuming you can do a group of 2nd grade and a group, or I'm sorry, a group of 1st grade and a group of 4th grade. Okay. Let's see. So I saw someone writing that maybe because of this situation, the COVID-19, that Epic is giving parents free access for 2 months. So you can try that. Thank you, Tessa, for posting that. Okay. So co-teaching and using Seesaw or Epic. Okay. So for Seesaw, if you notice on my profile, all of these classes here, these are all of the classes that I am a co-teacher in. So I work with all of these classes, I either do push in or pull out. So these teachers added a folder for me in their classroom. So if you look here, sorry, in their journal. So I have my own folder here, which students can post directly to. So whenever I open this folder, I'll see student work. Students have already started responding to some of my posts. So that's one way of using using Seesaw with as a co-teacher. Okay. Okay. So there's some troubleshooting issues on Epic I'm noticing. So I can maybe look up some information. This is for Crystal, and I can send it to you if I find anything. Jessica's asking, if you sign up with Epic for only one grade, will you still have access to materials for other grades? Yes, so let's take a look. So so I signed up for first grade. I had that same question before I signed up for Epic, but you are able to, let's see, I'll explore. You are able to go through all levels. So you can explore by first grade. I can choose any grade here. So I'm able to see any grade. Right, so I can do it by grade. I can do it by level. It goes up all the way up to Z. So yes, that's a good question though. Okay. All right, guys, so because we are running out of time and I don't want us to just get kicked off, I will just repeat some of the messages that I said before in the beginning. I am posting once more the Google form. I'm going to post it to everybody in the waiting room. Please tell your friends who are not able to get in that there will be a recorded version of this that will be sent out. They can also fill out the Google form, which I'm now posting to everyone in the waiting room. And now here it is for everyone in this meeting. Please make sure to fill that out completely with your email address. That's the only way that I'll be able to get to you. Any responses, any questions that you might not have had answered. Also, it will ask you if you need your CTLE hours. If you click yes, then I will be able to send the forms out to you so that you can claim your hours. And if you have any other literacy resources, I would love for you to please send those to me, and then I can add it to this list. So once again, you will all be able to, you'll all be getting access to this list, okay, shortly. Okay, so I'm going to say thank you. We'll be kicked off soon. Sorry, I only had the 40-minute version. So I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day and week, and we're all in this together. Any questions? Again, I'll get back to you shortly. Thank you so much. All right, take care, everybody.